Hello everybody, welcome to the sunshine. It has finally hit the mullet. We have been watching everybody else's incredible weather reports and we've been still having rain or sea mist, so it's beautiful that it is now sunny and it just lifts everyone in our peninsula, So lots has happened since I last reported live from my vehicle. We have got an incredible amount of energy moving through Gemini at the moment. Gemini is the twins and it is the opposing forces, it's the two minds, and it really is it's a chatty, communicative energy. Right now Uranus is firmly inside of Gemini, and in the past couple of weeks we've also had a lot of shifts of different energies. We've had Mars move into Taurus. Now Mars was in Aries, it was really like fire and movement forward, and then that big fire energy moves into Taurus, which is slow, methodical. It's the bull. So it's this slow moving, masculine, creating energy, taking your time, looking at all the options, not going for the red flag, but really allowing yourself to mull over what is required for you to build what it is that you want to build, or you're being called to build. We've also had Venus move into Cancer. Venus is the feminine and Cancer is all about the moon, and it's a really beautiful, nurturing, mothering energy. So when she's in there, there's a lot of nurture, again, a lot of slowing down, a lot of it rules the breasts, it rules the mother's milk, it just rules that really soft, nurturing energy. Now Cancer does have the shell, so you know that soft, nurturing energy is vulnerable and so gets to be protected. But when Venus is in there, we have this feminine that is softer, more nurturing, more connected to herself and her emotions. So we've got Mars, the masculine, slowing down, looking at what he wants to build. We've got the feminine really connecting with her softness, slowing into her emotional nourishment. And we've got Jupiter there with Venus, which is expanding that level of vulnerability that we all hold. But Uranus in Gemini is there with Mercury and the Sun, asking us to really look at where we are expanding our awareness of these forces within us. The divine feminine, the divine masculine, the polarity lives within us. And I'm teaching a lot and experiencing a lot at the moment around the concept of I am. I am the light, I am the life, I am the way. That energy of we create our own reality, and looking at how that exists inside of the sphere of astrology. If astrology is determining as above so below, then where is the force of I am, if I am creating my reality? And so I'm playing with these forces at the moment, which is really allowing, again, me to slow down and also to connect with that nurture, and to allow the Uranus in Gemini energy to open my mind to be able to really consciously hold two different paradoxical energies, one of which for me personally is the astrology, and therefore I can see the weather of the energy of the moment, but also know that there is an energy that transcends that. There is a source that transcends that, and that is yourself, your I am awareness. And for those of you that have worked with me before, you understand that when we go deeper into the shamanic work, into the shamanic realms, we go right into that source, which does transcend your astrology. But astrology is still there to help us navigate the terrain, and to really see and use as a mirror tool to see where are we not slowing down, where are we not nurturing ourselves. And the other part that I teach a lot is who we are becoming will offend who we've been. So as you grow in awareness, which Uranus in Gemini is really assisting us to do right now, as you grow in awareness about your personal truth, you can start to behave and do and be things and be a person that your previous self would have condemned. Because what we judge, we are actually judging on the outside parts of ourselves that we have put into the shadow of ourselves. So we project our shadow onto other people, we judge that, and therefore if we start to become that by looking at our own shadows and integrating that, because we've become aware that actually that thing out there is not out there, it's actually in me, and I'm just projecting it out so that I don't have to look at it. Once we become aware of that and start to have compassion about that and integrate that part into ourselves, it's like the old self is really offended, because we would have been offended by what we were judging. So what we are doing as a humanity at the moment, and individually, certainly in the work that I'm doing, is looking at where we are judging, where we're pointing the finger, or I say where we're sending the gun out there, and to lift the trigger and pull it back and look at ourselves, look at who am I inside of that person or that thing or that event that I am judging. Where am I being like that, and can I have compassion for that part of me? And if I can have compassion for that part of me, and I can slow down and really see, you know, what I judge out there is still a part of me too, and then I can love that part of me, then that judgment dissolves, that judgment relaxes, and you integrate that part of yourself, you love that part of yourself, you become more whole to yourself. You no longer judge that thing outside of you. And that is the alchemy of self-realization, self-awareness, self-development. And Uranus in Gemini really is pointing at that twins that separate and look away from each other. You know, which part of you are you denying inside of yourself so that you can stay comfortable? Where are you splitting your life off so that you can look one way and be one person and look the other way and be another person? And where are you being invited now to integrate, to turn those twins around, to look at each other? As challenging as it is, and to have that conversation with yourself and yourself, with these two parts of yourself, with the divine masculine slowing down in Taurus, the divine feminine opening up and being vulnerable in Cancer. But also, we have a full moon coming at the end of the week on Saturday in Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius is all about the truth and the awakening of a global truth. It's not necessarily about personal truth. It's about the truth, capital T, and something that is true for all time. And therefore, we may find with Uranus in Gemini and the full moon in Sagittarius, which is an opposition, we may find that there are truths illuminated within us and illuminated on the world stage that can feel very uncomfortable, because they're making us look at the part of ourselves that we would prefer not to look at. And yet that is the very medicine that we are invited to take, because that is what will set us free. The truth will set you free, but first it may piss you off. And you know, that is something that is true in my life all the time, and everybody that I work with were like, do you want to know the truth? You can't handle the truth. That sort of energy. But actually we're growing our capacity to handle the truth. We've had some very, very big revealing truths in the world that have been incredibly confronting over the last 6 months. And so that's been preparing us to find the parts in ourselves that we're now ready to confront and ready to integrate, ready to have compassion for, and move into a capacity that allows us to be more aware and be more compassionate and be more of the person we were born to be. Because right now we have this force of AI, and that's another Uranian in Gemini energy, this alternative information is what I'm calling it, rather than artificial intelligence, because we're using it as a mirror tool to see ourselves back. If you go on my last video, I shared a little bit about that, and I've certainly been diving deep into how this technology can help or hinder who we're becoming as an individual, as businesses, as corporations, and as a global humanity. And certainly it is a tool, so it isn't going to change the world. It's going to change how we look at ourselves and how we relate to ourselves, and it's going to speed us up. A lot of the cognitive process that has taken a long time for us humans to, you know, to process, to be a part of, is going to be speeded up by this technology. It's going to take away a lot of the brain work. But what how it shapes our world is dependent upon how we use that tool. And how we use that tool is dependent upon how integrated and how whole we are as human beings. Because if we are still in a split, if we are still in, you know, the two twins, the shadow aspect and then the forward facing aspect, we can use that tool from a shadow perspective, and our shadow then gets projected onto AI, and then we create a world from the places of judgment, the places of toxicity, the places of unintegrated material in our psyche, because we're then outsourcing that to AI because it feels more comfortable than us actually looking at ourselves and integrating those parts of ourselves that we find painful, shameful, or in guilt, the uncomfortableness. But if we do this work, if we look at ourselves first in the mirror, if we allow ourselves to get into healing spaces, if we allow ourselves to be in healing relationships, if we allow ourselves to expand our capacity to be with ourselves in uncomfortable moments, and to notice that we are human, and therefore it's not just black or white, we are a rainbow of colours, and we have so many different parts of ourselves. We're still growing, we're still understanding ourselves, and we have compassion for the parts of ourselves that we are becoming, because who we are becoming will offend who we are or who we have been. And if we actually integrate that more and more, and we become a whole being, so bringing the divine masculine and the divine feminine into union inside of ourselves first, then use AI as a tool, we can create heaven on earth. We can create this incredible humanity where we are coming together as these unique individuals inside of the puzzle piece, the picture puzzle, the jigsaw puzzle of community, come in unity in the global picture. So I believe the future is human, and I believe that we have this incredible tool that we can use to really expand and speed up the level of beauty and harmony and capacity and humanity, and really create this wonderful heaven on earth energy if we do it inside of ourselves first, and not bypass the work of being a human, coherent, heart-based feeling alive energy out to a machine that we think we can just put in some information and it'll bring back some soul level reflection, when actually it's only going to give back what we have put in. And so when we're putting in our shadow, it's going to bring us back our shadow. When we're putting in our soul, it can bring back our soul. But first and foremost, we are human beings, and so we get to work on our humanity first. And when we do, we can use these incredible tools for the betterment of humanity. And I can definitely see us growing as a species into more clairvoyance and clairaudience and telepathy energy and connection, because the heart is a coherent energy. It wants to be in coherence, not in distortion. And so in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have Uranus square the nodes, and we're going through this tunnel of truth at the moment, or the eye of the needle as I've described it in the past. But this tunnel of truth where each day we're living another life. Each week it's like we've lived a decade. You know, there was 20 years or more inside of May. Wait till we get to the beginning of June, where rapid truths start awakening in us. So the body can feel in a little bit of shock. It can feel like it's freezing, or it's fighting, or it's avoiding. And yet the invitation is to sit with the medicine, to sit with yourself, to sit with your heart. Get into spaces that are healing. Find yourself in the mirror. I will be releasing the Mirror app this week, and you'll be able to find it here. And it feels like YouTube is going to be opening up again for these long form videos, and also a Substack, so that I can really share the medicine for those of you that want to be inside of humanity's growth towards heaven, rather than humanity's descent towards using AI as an escape tool. So we want to build better humans rather than outsource our shadow to build better machines. And and the mirror will help you with that if you are feeling so called. So yeah, there's a lot of buzz around at the moment. There's definitely some awakening. We can't predict the content at the moment because Uranus likes to throw us some wild cards, but that's all part of the ride, isn't it, honey? So yeah, watch out for the Substack. I'm doing a lot of writing, being a lot inside of my own medicine at the moment, so that I can share that from the highest level of integrity and impeccability with you, with me, with all of us, because we are the medicine. So much love, so much love.